A moment, please. So, like I said, the difference between a SOC and a security analyst. So, if you work, SOC is you working in a security operations. So, it's a room whereby you oversee everything. And now under SOC, you have security analysts from level 1 to level 2. There you have your vulnerability management team. There you have your DLP team. Then you might even have people. Some organizations, we call them Office 365 guys. So that's their role to monitor anything on Office 365, to your Exchange, to your email, your phishing, writing ASR rule, which we talk attack surface rule, and different things. So now, like, imagine you work in a security operations center. Now you have visibility over these different roles, the T, threat intelligence, and all these roles we mentioned, we talked about earlier in cybersecurity. But you're working as a security analyst. You might just be a security analyst, level 1, level 2, or level 3. But as a SOC guy or a SOC analyst, you are working in a security operations center. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say now.
Yeah, I get it now. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So because even a lot of people working within cybersecurity don't know the difference between both of them. So if I see on your CV, say SOC analyst, and I see security analyst, obviously I will go for a SOC analyst first, because I know you have visibility over these different roles within cybersecurity. So obviously, and now we have different tools within cybersecurity. You see all these tools, like, you need to understand them. What I usually tell my students before, and which I will still say is, John Ripper is a tool for password, whereby you can use to crack password. So then some of these questions I will say the similar thing I said to my last team. So some of them you can understand them. That's why I gave us prompts earlier. So that prompt, you can use it to start asking questions like, what is John the Ripper? Like, it's not like what did they use it to do? Obviously, it's going to break it down for you, give you a real life scenario and the technical scenario at the same time too. So now you see all these tools we have here. You see proxy, you have SIEM tool, you have EDR, you have sandbox, you have data security, you have email gateway, you have DLP and compliance, you have WAF, we have a ticketing tool, and for example, firewall. You see, forget all the tools, for example, say firewall, Palo Alto, or Sophos, or Checkpoint, and the likes. The first thing you want to understand is, what is firewall? Now, vulnerability management. What is vulnerability management? What is a sandbox? What is a proxy? What is data security? What is DLP? What is email gateway? What is a SIEM tool and EDR? So now, if you know them, and now to explain this to anybody, obviously now you know what they use that particular tool to do. But if you don't understand sandbox, you don't understand vulnerability management. So for example, now if I tell you, like, you need to run that link in a sandbox, if you don't know what they do with that sandbox, then obviously you won't know what to do. It's so funny, yesterday in one of our group, whereby even a CIO, which is I think Chief Information Officer, was asking what is the meaning of isolation. Isolation, whereby you want to isolate a device. So now imagine a CIO asking that. Obviously, you need to lose your job if you don't know at that level what's the meaning of isolation or isolate. So the thing I always say is, you can take a screenshot of this, like, use that prompt and ask or write everything down, like, okay, ticketing tool, explain to me everything here. Let's break it down to the level whereby you can understand. So when you now understand this, then you understand what that tool does. Then on interview, they ask you, tell me about SIEM, tell me about EDR. So now, what is a SIEM tool? Like I said, is just a data aggregator whereby they ingest every log from any sources or any source within the organization into. And now we are going to work with Sentinel. If you can work with one, then obviously you can work with other SIEM too, because then I said something earlier. Sometimes they might ask you during interview, say, let's say that we don't have any SIEM tool, or we don't have any sandbox environment, or we don't have any tool that you can use to read email header. or you will not have what's it called? Maybe EDR, or maybe say we didn't ingest the log of firewall into our SIEM tool. So now, if I give you that particular log, can you read it? Because obviously I will teach us how to read logs soon. So now, you see that SIEM tool, Microsoft Sentinel, IBM QRadar, Splunk, they are going to ingest that SIEM log coming out of your device into them. Then they have different GUI. But the thing is the same log source. Then the naming convention for each one of them might be different. Like me, what I care about is the log. I don't care about the tool. As long as you can read the log, then you can use manually. Then you can use any SIEM tool. You can use any EDR. You can even use any tool in cybersecurity. So when you learn how to read log analysis, most people who train don't teach log analysis, because obviously they don't even know how to even read the log, and they don't know how to make sense out of everything. So like one of the things I would tell you to look out for, maybe to go out there and leverage your personal study on, is log analysis. Prompt your AI, can you teach me how to read log as a cybersecurity analyst? Give me 3 or 10 use cases on different alerts, maybe 40 alerts with the commanders and everything. You can learn at a very fast rate, even without me. I'm just teaching how you can do this. So now, SIEM tool, I've explained that one. EDR, we have different ones: CrowdStrike, Carbon Black, Defender. Here, what they are doing is they are just installing an agent. Say this is your laptop. We are installing an agent on this laptop. So now this agent is going to give us visibility on anything you do on your laptop. So that's why you see now everything is in the cloud. So now from there, they can start analyzing, capture the logs, capture your keystrokes, everything you do. We have visibility on it. That's the job of EDR. So now proxy. What is a proxy? So now we have Zscaler, we have our blue codes. So now proxy is whereby, for example, another layer of security. Now we don't want to, so now say this is you, and now this is the internet. We'll make sure we put a proxy in between. So now we can control everything you do on the internet. Say we don't want you to go to, for example, say facebook.com during work hour, or we don't want you to visit any site that's been created maybe 24 hours ago. This is the job of our proxy. Or maybe like you click on a malicious link and we don't want you to have access to that link. We are going to go to the proxy and we are going to block it. So what is a sandbox environment? Sandbox is, so let me give you a real life scenario example of sandbox. You remember during COVID, they will tell you you need to lock yourself up in a room. So now that's a good example of what's it called, a sandbox environment in real life. The nurses and doctors will come. Some they will come in, they will check on you, they will touch your body, give you injection. That one is what we call dynamic analysis in what's it called, in sandbox. But we have static analysis when it comes to sandbox too. Static analysis, just like me, I'm just looking at you like this, then I'm just writing everything I can see. So then they will ask which one is better. Obviously, dynamic analysis, where you can poke at that particular malware where you've uploaded into that sandbox environment. A good example is AnyRun or any.run. So you can register there with your personal email, go there and see what happens on AnyRun. I will still going to touch base with that one. Then vulnerability management, like I explained, you are managing vulnerability, identifying, then make sure like everything is being patched. Then you rescan at the same time. You have the tools, Qualys, Nessus, Rapid7, Inside VM. I've used all the tools you have here too. So if you go online, and let me say this one quickly, the best way for you to learn or for you to know how some of these tools works is just a cheat. So if you go online and type POC, POC means proof of concept of Sentinel, proof of concept of Cuckoo Sandbox, proof of concept of Zscaler, proof of concept of maybe Varonis DLP, or proof of concept of Proofpoint. So now what do I mean by that? You will see someone that's going to, maybe they've done the proof of concept of how this tool works from A to Z. So now it might be 2 hours video, it might be 1 hour video, and it's going to be like GUI based. So now you are watching them as they use that particular tool. Then that's how you just familiarize yourself with it. I do the same thing too. For example, say I've got a CV, maybe a JD, JD means job description, where they say on that job, you need to have a knowledge of WAF. For example, F5 or Akamai. I'll go online and type POC on YouTube. Then I'll look for it. I'll watch the video. Then I'll go to that interview and I'll explain as if I've used that tool before. Because for me, sitting out to see someone demonstrating how to use that tool for 2.5 hours or 3 hours, then obviously I can explain to anyone and I will explain like this is what I've done or this is what I was part of the team that did the POC in my last organization. I was there on a need to know basis, but these are the things they did at the time, but they didn't allow me to do it based on the policy. But here, if I join you, I will do it based on your policy. So that's a cheat code. So nothing is new. Someone would have done it now, they leverage on it and use it to your own advantage. So now we have, I've explained sandbox, then vulnerability, then email gateway. So email gateway, like imagine email gateway. Imagine your gates. If you want to go out, you pass through that place. If someone is coming to your house, they come in through your gate. So now imagine that layer of security. That's why you put a lot of policies whereby you want to make sure like you prevent different inbound impersonation and everything. So email gateway works with every email coming into your organization. And there's where we stop phishing attacks, whereby we can set different policies to check if this email contain some what do you call them, files with naughty extension, HTMLs and the likes. When we get to that phishing, like you understand some of this, but if you can use your hair, like before we get to that level, you are going to learn at a very fast pace. And like I said, my last student, I didn't give them this prompt because I always evolve every time. So now I'm giving this to you. Use it to your own advantage, and nobody's going to give you the prompt they use to do their job out there because everybody wants to feel like they're king in their own world. But here we don't get keep, give you everything you need, then data security, Varonis. So now when I've used Varonis too before when I was working at Bloomberg. So what it does is if you open any file on your device, we are going to we have log for it. So for example, now say accidentally or maybe based on misconfiguration, I had access to maybe Damilolas file, then it's going to generate an alert. Who gave me access? They want to check the rollback and I mentioned yesterday. How did you get access? Did they add you to a member of this group? If that's not the case, then I will ask you a question. How did you get this? Then obviously it's going to give us the log, the time you clicked on that particular file, the time you open the file, even if you move the file, if you rename it, if you copy anything in there, we are going to see everything, even the file part, everything we are going to see. Then what I would do is that document. Now imagine it's a document whereby you are not meant to see that document. For example, say it's been labeled with what we call Chatham's rule. You can read about Chatham's rule. So there's some information even me at work I don't get access to because some of my job is part of MOD, which is Ministry of Defense, based on security clearance. So there are some people's password you cannot even reset. If you reset it, you might even lose your job because you need security clearance to reset some of these people's email and give them access. So in that case, we monitor everything. Everything in this world is being monitored on your device. So yeah, that's that when it comes to data security. And we have the DLP. So now there's a thin line between data security and DLP. So now there's a purview. I made a mistake there. There should be PUE. So there's Microsoft Purview, there's McAfee UPO, then Simatech. I've used all the tools here as well. So now DLP is where we do data loss prevention. We want to make sure like you cannot exfiltrate file out of the organization. If I know some of you will be familiar with this, like for example, now on WhatsApp, you cannot screenshot. That's a case of DLP. Now we can use this tool to make sure like you cannot screenshot. If you notice there are some websites whereby if you go, you cannot copy. It's based on DLP and some other tools like they use. So now basically, what do we monitor with DLP, data loss tool? We are monitoring any inbound and outbound of data or even internally. And that's when we have data classification based on labeling, just to make sure like we classify these as maybe sensitive, not sensitive, personal. So now for you to have a good DLP tool, you must have a robust data classification. that will be done by maybe the DLP analyst, or even before you get to the organization, and they might tell you to maybe improve it. So that's that when it comes to data loss prevention. Then what do we mean by WAF, which is web application firewall? So now you see all those websites where you go, your bank app, there's an infrastructure behind it that we call WAF. So, for example, now I think Okwe might be familiar with this, I think, because Okwe too has a startup company. So, for example, you have any app, there must be a WAF behind it, which is web application firewall. This is how you want to prevent any form of attack from the web. For example, XSS, which is crypt site scripting. Sorry, my brain is gone now. So now, all these are in different injections. You want to make sure these are being prevented. So you need a WAF. So this, you can prevent a whole lot of attack with WAF. Then firewall, which I've explained earlier. Then the other one, which is ticketing tool, which I've explained to. You have Jira, you have ServiceNow, and you have AutoTask. You see all these stuff. You can even go online, like how do they use ServiceNow, AutoTask. Then you see how they use it. Everything is online, but you need to understand how to search for this. So that's why I said the other time, even if you want to do this as a security analyst, jump online, look for any material, any video that can teach you on SEO, which is search engine optimization, because this is going to help you when you are doing analysis, especially when you are using OSINT. OSINT means like OSINT tool, open source intelligence tool. Google is an example. So now when you read about SEO, you will know how to search when you are looking for different things online. So you see, like when it comes to security, there are other things you need to read. People will just tell you, like, let me teach you this, without teaching you some of the even basic things you need to learn. So read about SEO, I would say